Hello and welcome to VOCNR presentation on presentation skills. My name is Allison Peretti. I am the Vocational Nursing Program Director and also a co-instructor for this course, VOCNR 300. I understand that you are learning from Professor Samara and that she has really good news to report. You guys are excited about giving your presentations to us tomorrow. And we will also be giving you a tour about the facilities and telling you a little bit more about the program and your successful entry into nursing, hopefully. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Presentation skills module, mastering the art and science of effective communication. Communication itself is not only for presentations, obviously, but it is for safety and effective care as a nurse. So the skills that we're going to talk about here are also the ones that you can master and improve your nursing practice with. So let's get started. Why presentation skills matter? Well, as I stated before, effective communication is key, not only in school, in business, but in life. Each of your relationships are stronger, safer, more effective if you build your skills as a good communicator. What we will do through this course is highlight through your ability of giving presentations, how to inform someone, persuade them to do something, and engage them. Because it's not only about the knowledge you have and hold as you go through and learn all of these key values, but also how to effectively share it with someone. And then a larger part is the receiving. So 80% of effective communication is effective listening. It involves transmitting facts, ideas, feelings, and values. So what you have to share has to be supported through facts. And a lot of what we share in nursing is what we call evidence-based, meaning there is research and testing of the ideas that we share. It's not just something that sounds interesting. It actually has been proven over and over to be effective. And so what we're going to share here, even though it's the art of communication, there's also going to be theory and research behind what we're sharing with you. Feelings mean you're going to humanize what you're sharing, personalize it to the values and culture of the person that you're transmitting the information to. In terms of public speaking, it's a rhetorical skill. It's not only what you say, but how you say it. Okay. And I use my voice there with inflection because we've all had a lecturer that had given us lectures to make us fall asleep, for example, and hopefully this is not one of them. I could say public speaking is a rhetorical skill, what you say and how you say it. Very robotic, very non-personal. It has no intonation. It has no emphasis. It's hard to listen to. So communication also involves not only vocal ability and amplification, but also clarity and intent. I lecture very conversationally, so this is a hard one for me to split into categories. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, it's very informal, it's very spontaneous, often without sequence. You go here and transition to subjects, not really meaning to tie everything together. Whereas a presentation is very formal, it's very structured, it's planned and purposeful. So every presentation that we give will start out with objectives. The objective is defined so that we stay on task and we are very clear about what we're trying to accomplish through the presentation and discussions that we'll have. Notice that communication is not only verbal and the words, but also nonverbal. So you'll notice I paused my video and you didn't see my face anymore. And what you're seeing, if you are seeing it on the screen, is a picture of me. It's smiling, but it's still, it's not personal. If I change that, and now you're able to see my video, it becomes more personal. Oops, let me go back. Got excited about that. Because I could give you eye contact, you can see my body language. I'm very interested in what we're talking about. My speaking style is very personal. I'm married to an Italian, so I use my hands a lot. It's active, but yet concise. So I'm not rambling on. It's hard because we are through a electronic medium. But in the classroom, you would feel the energy of what I have to say. And that is another large part of what you have to read, not only with yourself and practicing in a mirror, but also pay attention to your audience. Is your audience yawning? Is your audience falling asleep? If they are, then maybe you need to switch to more active activity. So that's what we do as instructors and people that are presenting. The purposes of presentations could be a lot. Okay, namely, hopefully, when you're presenting, it's to inform your audience. Very key piece to sharing information is that it's informative, right? So we'll be giving presentations on culture to hopefully learn about different cultures and then be able to use that in our practice. Other presentations, maybe for business, for example, want to persuade. And that means, hey, I have this toothpaste. It's one of the best toothpastes around. You need to buy this toothpaste because XYZ. You're trying to persuade someone to do something with being a very active and engaging presenter. Okay. There's some presentations that are there to entertain, right? And entertainment pays. So that's where we are with bloggers, with people that are doing these TikTok short videos. Okay. Each purpose requires a clear goal and a tailored strategy. And the intent should be obvious and incorporated into your objectives. Visual and verbal harmony. So if you combine words with visual aids, it's going to be more interesting for the people that are watching. For example, if I am discussing the heart and I have a 3D animated video of the heart, its valves, everything that is surrounding what I'm discussing, it's going to be easier and more effective for the audience to consume what you're trying to share. Ensure slides and props support your message. When you say something, make sure it matches. because then it invalidates the speaker and what they're presenting. Okay. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes we have information in our brains as a nurse, and then your textbook says something different. And then you get the student that raises their hand to say, you know what, when you were sharing the lab values for white blood cells, it was different than what the book says. And we will discuss that. This is a huge one, and something that I hope you guys will practice with your presentation is anxiety, stage fright. It's hard. It's hard to give a presentation, especially in a live audience, and especially with a lot of them. So anxiety is common, first of all. Everyone, I don't care what type of speaker or who you are, even the President of the United States gets anxiety. It can stem from the audience, the venue, the equipment, preparation, familiarization. Okay. All of that is incorporated on the level of anxiety that you'll feel. The least prepared you are and the less familiar you are with what you're trying to share, the more nervous you're going to be. So prepare, familiarize, practice. That's what's going to make your presentation more effective. And then your interpersonal skills. This is hard because we're in the age now where we text a lot, where we have a lot of electronics. Engage your audience. Know them by name. Personalize it. Ask for questions. Ask for their opinion. Okay, blend verbal and nonverbal communication. That's why we do a lot of activities, is to break out our sessions and then adapt to the audience feedback. If they're not getting what you're sharing, then try to explain it in another way. Okay, planning a presentation means that you know your audience, that you've researched and have evidence, and that you have organized your ideas clearly. So when you have all of that, you design a presentation that incorporates those visual aids that are going to be stimulating and connected to your presentation. You keep your slides clear and concise, avoid clutter and overuse of text so they can actually focus on your main ideas and goals. And then rehearse. Delivering your presentation means that you know it. Remember, we were talking about decreasing anxiety by being familiar with what you're saying, as well as knowing the content. So rehearse often, use body movement and eye contact effectively, vary your voice to emphasize points. I think you guys are going to do great. See? There's emphasis, intonation. I got excited about what I was saying. You guys were like, ooh, she is doing extra. But just emphasizing it will make your words that are coming out of your mouth more exciting and more easy to listen to. And then handle props and Q&A. So if you have a lot of props, make sure that they, again, match what you're trying to share and that you don't use a lot, because then the more that you use, the more that you'll have to manage. Prepare for questions. Practice transitions and interactions. Do your research, because if someone's out there and they say, hey, when you were talking about nonverbal communication, what are actually specifics that you are referring to? Great question, Allison. Well, with nonverbal, I'm looking at your body language, your breathing, whether there's nervousness in your voice, trembling, tone, all of that, as well as, you won't even notice sometimes people roll their eyes. Sometimes people say a lot. A lot of that is nonverbal. Okay, so Presentation skills and techniques mean that you understand verbal and nonverbal communication. So, an introduction to presentation skills. Examine your skills, fears, and preferences. Open yourself to full potential as a presenter and build your confidence and competence. So, now that we know what kind of skills we are going to share, right? We're going to be weary of our verbal by practicing the information that we're going to share and nonverbal. Practice your face in a mirror, present to yourself, see how you look. Okay. That will again control for any anxiety. And then preferences. Do you like to use note cards? Do you like to use the notes part of the presentation? Do you like to use a clicker? Do you like to whatever? Identify all the tools that will be effective for presenting. Okay, use of voice. Again, pitch, volume, pace, pronunciation. If I'm over here and I say that the use of voice, pitch, volume, pace, pronunciation, is clarity, you guys won't understand what I'm talking about. You're like, okay, Mrs. Mumbles, I'm not understanding what you're saying. So clarity, articulation, emphasis, tone, all of that's going to help with engagement.
Someone with a 6'6", 9".
Okay, nonverbal communication skills also include gestures and posture. Are you actively roaming around the room if you're in a room? What are your facial expressions? Are you giving eye contact? Are you using the appropriate body language? Is there consistency with what you're saying and what you're sharing on the screen? All of that, again, is nonverbal communication. And then, again, practice makes perfect.
By practice makes perfect, I'm talking about record and review your presentation. So just like I'm doing, you could actually record yourself practicing, right, on Zoom and watch yourself talking to yourself, your gestures, what your face is reading to the audience. Then you could identify your strengths and areas for improvement. So if you're there and you're recording and then you like have fidgety things where you smile or you laugh or you are always moving around or you say then you have to repeat it, practice it, breathe, slow down, identify what calms you and what makes you centered in order to present. Okay? Because then with those two in mind, you're going to combine your verbal and nonverbal skills effectively. And remember what we talked about were nonverbal skills, right? Let's go back to that slide. Gestures and posture. I'm sitting up, I'm projecting my voice, I'm looking at you eye to eye or camera eye to camera eye. Facial expressions, I'm happy, I'm always happy to teach and share information, eye contact and body language, consistency with verbal messages. So as I'm presenting on presentations, I'm trying to project and show you what that looks like as an effective presenter, okay? And what makes a successful presentation? Well, again, the presenter is prepared, is engaged, and is clear. I clearly have done this presentation before, and I'm preparing you to do a presentation for us. I'm hopefully engaging you with my voice, with my excitement, because I truly think that you are going to be successful as presenters and as people that in the future are going to share information that literally could be life or death in terms of medication management, in terms of their health management. So as you develop these skills, think about presenting a new diabetic with their new medications and how they take it. If you tell them to take it wrong, you could literally cause them to have very low sugar, and possibly go into a coma and die. So very, very important that you're effective as a communication deliverer. Know your audience, okay? What they say with research is that we have to speak at the third grade level in order for the general public to understand what you are talking about. So if you look around this room, look around your class, we have mixed diversities, we have mixed ages, we have mixed backgrounds, we have mixed ways of learning. So know your audience and try to touch every different learning style. Remember, you guys did VARCs and identified learning styles. So visual, try to be visual with your presentation. Auditory, make sure your intonation is clear, and pause so that there is emphasis on key points that you want to do. And then interest. Are you really interested in what you're saying? If you're not, well, sorry, fake it till you make it. But you should be. You should be concerned about culture and competency and making sure that you understand people based on their perspective, their life perspective, right? The environment, control setting and handle technical issues. Make sure you know how to use Zoom. Make sure you know how to use PowerPoint. Make sure you know how to use your presentation tools. If you're using PowerPoint, how do you advance the slide to the next slide? If you're using Zoom, how do you record? All those things in advance. It's hard to do while you are presenting. So try to learn that in advance. Okay, so a mixture of these three circles, controlling your environment, knowing your audience, and being confident and assured and clear as a presenter will make your presentation successful. So I'm looking at this. There's three circles that we identified in the centers where we want to be, where all of those three things crossed together. Okay. In terms of a speaker, according to longtime Toastmaster member Bob Kinzel, there are a few key elements that tend to make a successful speaker. Voice. Can the person be easily understood? And with that, it's not about language and not about your accent. It's about pausing and making sure you're hearing your own self, and making sure that you're using terms that are easily understood at that third grade level, right? Body language. There's their body support what they're saying. Are they confident? I love speaking in public. I didn't always, but I do understand that teaching for me and presenting is a passion. And hopefully that comes out in my body language and my voice. Coherent structure. Does what they're presenting make sense? Is it logical? Are these slides, as I'm advancing, adding to the main topic of presentation? And the answer is yes. We talked about the presentation itself. What are the elements of a good presenter? And then lastly, we're talking about the speaker, right? The audience, your verbal, nonverbal language, all of that gets incorporated into an effective presentation. And then enthusiasm. Do they care about what they're presenting? If again, and I did this before, I'm monotoned and I'm not excited about what I'm saying, and I'm like, enthusiasm is a key element to presenting. They have to care about what they are presenting, and it has to be effective in that way. No one wants to listen to someone like that, right? I want to say, do they actually care about my success? In what they're presenting, is it interesting to me? Is it interesting to them? You could tell, right? And do they have expertise? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they credible? And what that is have they prepared themselves in advance? And you'll see that when people ask questions, and everyone is going to get a question about their presentation. So be prepared to answer questions. And then have they practiced? They haven't practiced or sufficiently prepared, it's likely they'll show up in one or two of the above. In the fact that they're nervous, in the fact that they can't answer questions, in the fact that they're mumbling through the slides and just reading off of them instead of really just projecting and sharing information. Okay, so what are the key takeaways? 3 aspects to consider for your presentations is the presenter themselves, the audience they're presenting to, and the controlled environment. That includes how you're going to present. So if you're using a PowerPoint, for example, practice, record yourself. Okay, as a team, you're going to give each other feedback. Hey, I notice you twitch, or I notice you do a lot, or maybe we should practice that term right there, saying enthusiasm, because when I hear it, you're saying enthusiasm, and it's not really clear what you're saying, right? Second takeaway, your voice, your body language, that nonverbal and verbal together, coherent structure, enthusiasm, expertise, and practice are ingredients that can make a successful speech or presentation. The audience wants you to succeed. We're all here in support of you doing really well. Making a recording of your verbal and nonverbal cues helps to identify your presentation style. Again, I told you guys I'm very conversational. If I present, it's the same as if I'm standing here just talking to each of you individually. So some verbal elements such as pitch, volume, emphasis, pronunciation, fillers, meaning, is there any questions? I'm going to pause the presentation. And then reading the room, right? If everybody's yawning, everyone's not paying attention. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a 15-minute break. Come back. I need you guys to re-energize, right? Rate the impact of your presentation on your audience. Nonverbal elements are key, right? Those are the verbal elements I just went over: pitch, volume, emphasis, pronunciation, fillers, and rate all the impact. And then nonverbal are gestures. Like me, I tend to bop my head a lot in confirmation of what I'm saying about myself, right? Facial expressions, I hopefully appear friendly and smiley and welcoming. My posture is open to having questions, silence. It's not always negative. If you have a pause, it means that you want to be clear about what you are sharing. Okay, and I slowed down there on purpose so you could see the impact that slowing down might have. Movement and movement all impact the presentation. Self-awareness of the presenter's strengths and weaknesses will help to adjust the verbal and nonverbal elements for the presentation and can impact the presenter's planning strategy. So come in knowing what you are good at, what you can improve on, and then practice on your weaknesses, right? For me, it is making sure that I pause, okay? Because I'm so excited. Sometimes I have to talk fast, and that makes my presentation less clear, and it makes harder to listen. I have to practice slowing down in order for what I'm trying to say to be more effective. Okay, so key takeaways. I, along with Samara, are very excited to hear all of your presentations and to make sure that you enjoy the rest of this course. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday.